Good morning. I thought I'd in the absence of people joining us this morning, I'll do a quick run through and set up for next week for any of you who wanted to join in online this morning. So, looking at this, Luke 14 is what we looked at this week, and it's just an incredible journey. Just showing how Jesus interacted with society, how he interacted with a very fixed culture that he was challenging and rewriting. It's sort of like C.S. Lewis, where in this Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Aslan, the lion who represents Jesus, is killed on a stone table. And there's glee at the evil having triumphed and all the rest. But there was a deeper magic at work, and he came back to life. And in this kind of look of things, there's one level of this religiousness that's formed like a crust over a deeper surface level of what God is about. And Jesus came to show us what God is about, and he came to show us how good God is, and how our relationship with God is a relationship of love. It's trusting him and love like Abraham had. But somehow or other, people had made it about a religious code that needed observation to try and follow God, but without the connection of love in the heart. And Jesus goes right for the heart. In the beginning of Luke, it says, this man will cause a fall and rise of many in Israel, and by him many hearts will be revealed. And so this week we looked at Luke 14. And it says, one Sabbath he went to the house of the ruler of the Pharisees. And this is a very high-ranking person. The Pharisees were a sect within Judaism that were incredibly powerful. But it shows that Jesus was not against going to different people's houses. He was not against the Pharisees. He was trying to win them. But their hard exterior meant that he really needed to challenge things in them to reach them. And so Jesus' heart is shown for all peoples. And as he goes into this, there's a man who has a condition with swelling around the joints, we think, called dropsy in the old language. And Jesus says, "Shall I heal him? Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do this?" And no one answers. So he heals the man and sends him on his way. And then he says to everyone, which of you, if you've got a son or an ox that's fallen in a well on the Sabbath day, wouldn't immediately pull it out? That would be work. But actually you're allowed to do that. Can't we just see someone healed? They couldn't answer him. And then as the meal goes on, as it all progresses, you've got this parable he tells, the wedding feast. And he's saying that actually when you get invited to a wedding, don't sit at the top table. Actually sit a little bit further down. And if the person wants you up there, they'll invite you up there. He's kind of saying that actually our status is not based on where we are positioned by others, but we should just go in and be ourselves and actually sit at a lower place. And if people want you at the top table, they'll pull you up there. They'll move other people to put you in that place. And he says, so everyone who exalts himself will be humbled. He who humbles himself will be exalted. And so this kind of positional power at a table, Jesus challenges that, challenges how society views people and rates people. Then verse 12 onwards, he tells the parable of the banquet. It's saying, actually, when you throw a banquet, don't just invite people who can invite you back. Actually invite in the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. Invite in people that who can never repay you. And actually, if you think about that, that's how God treats us. He invites us by his grace to enjoy his kingdom. And it's something we can never earn or deserve or have by any careful observation or anything. It's an absolute gift. And Jesus himself, which hasn't come clear in Luke yet, but is the gift of God as a blessing to the whole world. It's something that could never ever be repaid. And here he's saying that when you throw a feast, behave like that. Behave like God. Show that graciousness and generosity to others. And then someone said, well, I hope we have nice bread in the kingdom of God. Trying to change the subject, I think, although there was some contention online about whether that's the case this week. But actually that man was very clever. I think he was kind of saying, "Oh, this is a bit awkward for the guy." No, we've had, Jesus saying, "Actually, don't choose the top places." Then we've had Jesus saying, "Well, when you do this properly, you should actually invite in the poor and the lame," and we haven't done that. And so we better move it on to the kingdom of God. Let's get let's try and get Jesus teaching on the kingdom of God. Let's throw it that way, and then Jesus does. But when he does, it gets even worse because he says, a man gave a great banquet, invited many, and for the banquet he sent a servant. And people basically replied saying, "Oh no, I want to get on with my everyday life. Oh, I just want to do the normal things. I want to look at my field. I want to take a 5 oxen out and seeing how they do. 5 yoke of oxen, so it's probably 10 oxen. It's really powerful farming machinery. I want to go and try it out. I want to go and explore it, rather than coming to the feast that they've been invited to. And Jesus uses this to sort of hint to the Pharisees, I think, to say, actually, guys, you've been invited to this feast, but actually you're not coming. You're not attending. And so, he's saying those things. I've been joined by someone here, Jenny. It's wonderful. I'm just doing a quick recap of the week. I think it's just you and me at the moment, but I'll continue with what I'm doing, and then we'll just get to the end of this. And so basically, with this, the master says to his servant, "Go into the highways and the hedges and compel people to come in, that my house will be filled." And none of the people who are invited will taste the banquet, because they've decided to do other things. But actually, I'm going to bring in everyone, because the feast I've prepared is for everyone, and I'm going to invite people in from the hedgerows. And I think this refers to the Gentiles being invited into the kingdom of God. I think Jesus came for the whole world, not just certain people. He came to win people, and so that winsomeness is in this. And then Jesus goes on and talks about discipleship and the cost. Unless you pick up your cross and follow him, you're not a true disciple. Actually, unless you love him more than any other love, you're not a proper disciple. And then he goes on and says, well, won't you assess the building you need to build? So you need to think through, actually, am I prepared to go with the kingdom of God? It's going to cost me. I need to be prepared for that cost. Just like if I was going to battle, I'd have to prepare. Or if I was going to build a building, I'd have to prepare. And so Jesus helps with all of that. And then he challenges and says, salt's good, but if salt's lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It's no use either for the soil or for the manure pile. It's thrown away. He who has ears, let him hear. And so that was a quick recap of the week that's gone. I don't know if there's anything you want to chip in, Jenny, that you spotted or that was on your heart from the week.
I've only just got up, actually.
That's cool.
I've just had a bad night, so I thought.
Oh no.
So yeah, I've finally got the Bible in front of me. I won't do it.
That's fine. I'll just do one little bit, and then I'll probably go offline. Yeah. So the little bit I was just going to touch on this morning, because there hasn't been many people join. I think it's a cold night, and I think I can understand a lot of people staying in bed. I know some people have had to go elsewhere this morning. But the chapter 14 begins by saying Jesus is invited to a meal on the Sabbath, probably after synagogue, at the ruler of the Pharisees' house. I mean, that's status. And in here, we've got Jesus eating with sinners. It says, now tax collectors and sinners were drawing near him. And the Pharisees and scribes grumbled, saying, this man receives sinners and eats with them. So in some ways, they haven't made the journey with Jesus. Jesus is able to be at the Pharisees' house, be able to teach there and bring teaching and be part of all of that's happening there. And then the very next day, or the next time we see him in this, he's with tax collectors and sinners and eating with them. Jesus isn't fussy about who he eats with. Jesus isn't fussy about who he fellowships with. And I think there's some of that, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but I just wanted to say that about Jesus. He is for everybody. He's for the Pharisees, he's for the poor, he's for the outcasts like tax collectors, he's for the people who are not living right, the people who are living right. He's come and he reaches out to them all. and that's very powerful. And so we're going to look into the parables of all the lost things next week. But I think I'll leave it there for today, and I'll have a nice pleasant chat with Jenny. So I'll move offline. But thanks for joining us if you have joined us this morning, and I hope it all goes well.